Okay, as those of you know that are returning guests, we pick a topic every week to discuss. And this week we're going to talk about know, like, and trust. And what I'm interested in finding out is what do you do with either your existing clients, new clients, people you've met, networking, whatever. What do you do to create know, like, and trust so you stay top of mind with them? Because that's the great goal is if you have a dozen people that think about you all the time because you've made a connection or whatever, that's the best way for them to connect you with other people that potentially could be more business for you. So I'm interested to start with we'll start with Rob Hellman, who is an I Refuse to Fail partner. Rob, if you want to unmute and tell us what you do.
Um, People really absolutely they abhor being sold. I mean, and really what I enjoy doing is really educating and empowering people, regardless of the topic that we're discussing. Because there's financial wealth, there's health coverage, there's uh, policies, there's claims. There's healthcare over 65, Medicare. It's really the education process. Being a resource first and foremost is really that's definitely going to set you apart. um People hate to be sold. I mean, nobody wants to be coming away as Herb from WKRP in Cincinnati. I mean, you'd much rather be, a knowledgeable resource, somebody that's dependable, and you can actually get information from them. Sometimes people just want to hear themselves think, and you know what? I'll allow you to be able to do that and not have to charge you a thing. But that's what being a resource is all about.
Okay, thank you. All right, and let's go to Anissa.
I think transparency is key. I know for what I do, it's a very difficult and delicate topic, and people want to ask me some pretty intimate questions, like right off the bat. And I have found that being as transparent as possible is really helpful to get people at ease. It's just what I found that works for me.
All right, so you kind of try to build that relationship so they do open up, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
But being very transparent, especially answering their questions,
Yeah,
and giving them the information they want to know.
I think that's good. Okay, thank you. Matt, if you will unmute.
Well, now I don't have anything smart to say after Anissa and Rob because it was very similar to what they said, but I guess I can kind of add to one thing I make sure I do, but in a very genuine way, not a manipulative way, is to put the person that I'm talking to first, make sure I'm asking them questions. If if the conversation goes more towards me, I'll try to steer it back in the direction of them because first of all, it's human nature to want to talk about yourself, but you're going to stand out from probably all the other people that they're talking to that day, all the people that are like, this is my thing, this is what it does, it's amazing, this is what you need. So if you're doing what Anissa and Rob just said and a little bit of what I had just mentioned, you're definitely going to stick out in people's minds, but again, doing it in a way that is sincere, really showing an interest. And I guess if you don't have an interest, then you shouldn't even be talking to them, but not doing it in a manipulative way. But I think that resonates well with people.
Yeah, I think I couldn't say it better. In fact, I train that, okay, through networking, that if you make it all about them, they're going to pay attention more to you. I mean, they would rather hear, you know, sometimes I think even if you've ever been to an after hours event where there's 50 or 100 people and people come around and say, oh, here's my business card, here's what I do. Nobody gives a damn what they do, honestly, okay? It's better to introduce yourself, find out more about them, and try to keep it focused on them, in my opinion, because then it's like, wow, this person's not trying to sell me. They're really interested in me. And that's, to me, how you really grow, know, like, and trust. So I agree with you, Matt, 100%. Laura?
Yeah, it's kind of almost a reiteration of everybody else. But for me and foremost, it's always about building those relationships and getting to know the other person, being authentic and being honest. I mean, we're not always all going to be a good fit, but we've all worked hard, for our reputation. So I generally don't do well with people that just say, "Hey, let's connect. Hey, I'm starting out, promote my product." I don't know you. I don't know, the product. So building those relationships, getting the time to know the other person and how you can collaborate, because I don't see anything as a competition. It's a collaboration, and I think we can do more together. So the relationship building and the honesty, the transparency, like she said to me, is top.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the truth of the matter is not everybody is going to be a good synergy when you meet with them, and that's fine. But when you do find that person, you don't want to make it a one-time deal. You want to stay in touch. Otherwise, they're going to forget you. It's just like I always say in networking, if you're a networking nomad where you're just jumping from group to group to group to group, hoping you're going to sell something. I mean, it could happen, as I always say, a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while, but the only way you're really going to make connections with people to get them to connect with other people for you is to keep you in top of mind, is get to know them, And so I agree with you 100% there, Laura. That was good. Louise.
Well, I'm going to take a little different approach, but generally my clients love me when I go above and beyond what they expect me to do. I will do a lot of things that are for free that I don't charge them for, and I just do it because they asked me to do it. So I think that always resonates with them, and that's why they always come back.
I think that's a good point too, because that's on the client side, not when you just met somebody. And, the old saying is to, under promise and over deliver. You do that, that will help keep you in top of mind with your clients. And also it helps you get referrals or connections from other people because they know like and trust you. So that's a good point as well. Jeff?
Well, I know I'm struggling because I always overpromise and underdeliver, so that's probably the problem. Anyway, keep in mind I raised my hand back when Matt started this fiasco of asking questions and that part of it, because my building the relationship consists of, I call myself a professional question asker. Secondly is probably as important, I'm not sure which one's more important, but be an active listener. Don't be sitting there thinking of your next question while you're listening to the answer. And then when you get their answer, ask why. Why is it important to them? And then the only other thing that I probably do different than most people is I like to figure out a way to add humor into any conversation I have, regardless of what it's about and why. I usually get a laugh or at least a smile out of most anyone in the first couple minutes of any conversation I try to have. Makes it memorable as well.
Right, it does. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Jeff. How about Bill?
Hey, this is interesting. There's a model in communications called the Johari window, Johari. I think it was Joseph and then Harry, whatever. But what it does is it talks about how in any interaction between two individuals or an individual and an organization, they both have the opportunity to either share or hide information. And the smaller what they call the arena is not very good for communication or for building trust. But in leadership training that I used to do, the idea was that somebody has to make the first move. And if you have an opportunity to share something that isn't known, something that's very important, something maybe even slightly embarrassing, but you make the first move, you engender reciprocity on the other party's part to come back to you in kind. So if everybody's going, I don't know what they're thinking up in home office, and then nobody's telling anybody in home office from the field what's going on, but the home office comes out and says, we got a problem. We need to tell you about it so we can all work together. Suddenly that opens the gateway to an exchange. And I think it's the same thing with trust. If you do things that demonstrate your trust and regard for another, for a client, a center of influence, you'll find that the law of reciprocity opens up the gateway for them to return to you that which you have extended to them in the first place. So be a leader, make the first move, and make it important. It'll come back to you many times.
Okay, that's good, Bill. And Mike?
Oh, thanks. I was listening to this and I agree. It's nobody likes to be sold, especially if it's a product that you know that you don't need. There is another side of that pendulum is that you can get friend zoned. I had two very interesting calls yesterday. One was with somebody I had seen in a group but never met with before. This is our first meeting, and she signed up with me. Woohoo! Great way to start off the week. But also, I got on a call with somebody as our third call, and then after that, after we went for an hour and we booked for 30 minutes, he booked another call. And now he's just starting to I don't know if he just wants to hang out, but next time it's it's go or get off the pot, you know what I mean? And sometimes it goes the other way that if you don't, eventually you got to ask for something or else you're just, they're just hitting you up for nothing, knowing they can get you for free.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. You're talking about in a sales situation or a selling situation, but I think before you get to the selling situation, it's always good to build a strong know, like, and trust. So that when you make the sale, you don't get buyer's remorse or something instead of just, honing in on what you have for them. It's more about what they have and what their needs are, regardless if you can help them or not. And I think you gain a lot more know, like, and trust with that. And that's why a lot of our partners will say, as always, we're here to assist you, not sell you, because we're here to help you in what you do, not necessarily what we have to help you with. Okay. What we have is something different. We can talk about it another time, but let's find out more about what you do. And I think people are more impressed with people who just generally want to help them in what they need versus what you need to sell them. And so I think that's where it really starts, especially in networking. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about when you've had so many touches and somebody's interested in what you have. That's a whole different topic for another day. But I really think that's a key when you're building know, like, and trust, my opinion. Okay, thank you, Mike. And Kristen.
I do agree, ask questions and listen to them, but at the same time, kind of with Louise, I just believe knowledge is power, and a lot of people give like teasers and teasers, and they're like afraid to give away the cow. But someone said something that I really hit me hard, in a good way. I never thought about it. It's like you can give out kernels of wisdom, but just because you gave them a kernel, there's no way they're going to have all your education. So I would say do not have fear of giving away some of the wisdom, because I think, knowledge, makes people trust you. And I think a lot of times people are like, well, until you pay the big consulting fee and everything, I'm just going to tease you. Like, how do I know what you can offer? So I just think some people are just afraid to be transparent and to be knowledgeable and everything and to share some. I don't think you have to worry about that, because there's no way in a 5-minute or 30-minute conversation, they're going to get all the tools to steal your business and all your expertise. So I just thought that was a good thing to keep in mind when talking to people.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago from somebody else that was a business consultant like myself. And what they told people is steal from me. Okay. In other words, they were there, they were open. You're never going to get all the knowledge I have or what they have. Okay. The idea is that it's kind of like putting bait on a hook, if you want to think about it. You get them to nibble at it and take a little bit of it, or as I used to say, sell like a drug dealer. You give them a little and you give them a little and you give them a little, and then all of a sudden, oh, you got to pay for it now, right? Once they get hooked. And when I say they get hooked on you. They get to where they know, like, and trust that you're not there to scam them. So once you build that know, like, and trust, if you are looking at it from a sales situation versus just a networking situation, it never hurts to give some knowledge out there. I agree with you 100%. Eugene?
Yeah, usually when I'm talking to people for the first time, I'm usually looking for people to become members of our studio. And I want to know two things. I want to know where they're at and what's their class. So the at is their attitude and their talent. A lot of people have great talent, but their attitude isn't right. Then I want to know their class, KLAT. What's their know, like, and trust? Who do they know, like, and trust? Who is their network? And that's very important. And it's not just who they know, it's who knows them. I know a lot of people. If you told them my name, they say, "Who is that?" You know what I mean? So it has to be equal, you know? They know them and the person know also that they know also knows who they are. So
Yeah.
that's,
No, I agree with you, Eugene. And I think that most people who are givers know givers. Okay, they associate with other people who are givers. And so that's kind of like what I said in the group here. The best way for us to get quality people like all of you all is to invite other people. And the reason why I ask you to do that is I figure if you're a quality person, you're going to know quality people. So we want like-minded people who are understanding. We're not here to sell people. And I will tell you one thing, that in this particular group, when people come here to try to sell, they usually don't come back because they know that's not why we're here. We're not a pitch group or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's a strong point, Eugene, that, you want to find out who they know, like, and trust as well, because that's how you create a group, Okay. Justin, back to you, and let's wrap this up.
Okay, great. Yeah, you said that the drug dealer comment was kind of funny because I believe in giving people a little bit, I always start with the easy stuff to help them. But one of my first mentors in my life, he told me, always be more of value than you seek in payment. And that tends to build, trust, and it takes time where I get to know them. And even in the industry that I'm in now, I tell people, I start out saying, yeah, I could save you money with payment processing because I'm just making the money. But there's so many other things that I could do, but I like to start with the little stuff first, make them money, build the trust in them. And then after that, it's just asking questions and see if they need anything else. Even if I can't provide them, that's why I lean really heavy on my referral partners, and I can say, hey, this person can do that. So
yeah, I agree. I think that's the whole philosophy behind networking. Personally, I used to joke about it when I did a networking presentation. I said, I know you all aren't going to believe this, but I don't know how to do everything. Okay. I know it's hard to believe. And so why I network is to find people that do things either I don't want to do or I don't know how to do, because I need to be a good consultant. I need to be able to refer people that I know are going to be, that I know, like, and trust, that are going to help those people without taking advantage of them. So there's a sense of comfort there. And because you don't want to be giving referrals to somebody you don't know, like, and trust, and then have a bad situation because your name is on it. So I think it's always good. And the other thing, just to kind of sum it up, is to make it all about them, and always under promise and over deliver. And I think that pretty much sums it up, is in my world anyway. And that's pretty much, I think, what everybody else said. So I appreciate it. I think this has been a pretty good discussion. We will be recording this, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel, the I Refuse to Fail YouTube channel. And if I have time, I'll even send it out maybe in one of the update emails that I send about the next event. So if you don't mind, I'm going to stop the recording.